How do you, because I don't write genre fiction, my students do a lot at CU. They write a lot of fantasy and science fiction. And with them, I have to be really careful with them, in criticizing them or critiquing them because they either don't create the world well enough or their whole narrative is all the creation of the world. And you've got a complex world. I mean, you've got the upper realm, the middle, or the middle earth, the underground, kind of three levels as far as what I remember. Um, do you map that out at first? Because you integrate that really well. Like you don't push too much on the world development. It kind of comes in and we start to understand that. How does that work in your writing? Do you map the world originally and look at all the details of the world and then just integrate it in the narrative, or how do you do that?
Yeah, I do. So, like in this book, you're right. We have the Fey realm, which is the Middle Earth, which is under because it's contemporary fantasy, but it feels more epic because you're in that Middle Earth where they don't have any technology. But yeah, but then if you come to the human realm, which is the Upper Earth, then it's the normal human world that we live in. And I don't know how I really came up with that, but I wanted Titania to come help the witches, so I was like, well, she has to be nearby. She has to be able to get there, but I wanted her to be more set in that medieval type world. So that's how I can. And the fairy rings, fairy rings are fairy rings, and I was like, oh, they could be magical fairy rings that go back and forth. So yeah, I had a piece of paper that I just kept writing notes on. And there was one point that I
So
wanted
wait a minute. So it integrated like organically while you were writing the narrative, or you planned it out ahead of time?
No, I planned that out ahead of time. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely. I had to think, even before I wrote the first short story that I submitted to the anthology, I had to have a good idea of the rules and how they could get back and forth and what type of beings they were when they came to Upper Earth and um the types of powers they had. And I think there was only one time in this series that I was like, oh, I want to do XYZ, but my rules may not let me. So I had to kind of like think about if I could bend that or a lot of I don't like to bend rules that I've already created early in the series because that just
hmm.
throws out the rules. But yeah, so I work on that a lot before I ever like start writing because if you contradict and because like several people will write their whole series before they release any of it, but I don't do it that way. I release book by book. So you can't change something once it's already done, right? Yeah, so yeah, I work on that a lot before I start and then pray it works for everything.